Sup guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Action Comics Special number 1 by DC Comics. Yeah, we have a lot of talent here. When I pause, like this, that means that should be a trigger. Well, not so much of a trigger warning, but that's me saying this book is not actually good. Remember this page here. Okay, let's dive in, and I'm gonna talk you through it. So it seems the narrative is saying that, well, basically this guy in this chair is in the Fortress of Solitude, and he is, entering or breaking in Kal's, fortress. And he uses some kind of a technology to mimic, I believe, the handprint or the imprint of a Kryptonian, so that he activates those crystals. And we see this guy with a breathing mask. Okay. Yeah, and then he figures out that Clark Kent, he watches Lois and Son. So he figured out that, Lois is married to Clark, and Clark is Superman, etc. So yeah, and he says that Lois Lane is the key. Stuff like that. Okay, cool, I guess. So we see Superman coming in, and he brings some, pizza for his for John. Is it John, by the way, or is it? Yeah, this is John. This is a comic from 2018, by the way. And then suddenly John gets a message, and he shows the telephone to Clark, and Clark flies away, and he says, "Hey, go to your cousin Kara, Supergirl. He protects you." And then we see here that somebody figured out that on board on the Lex Air flight is Mrs. Superman. Okay, all right. So we have here this green lettered narrative. If you have green in it, probably you know that I'm going to spoil it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let's leave it here, but green is like blue or is for Superman. Green is for, we all know who it is. Come on. Anyway, so there's a rocket here flying, towards the plane. Superman prevents it, of course, and the narrative says, there's the old spirit. He stopped the missile, but it isn't over. Can he handle the shockwave? So, and that is something weird here. So Superman figures out that the missile looks Kryptonian. And then he is pondering, he uses his X-ray vision or to see who launched it and how. But then in that microsecond, he forgot about the plane. And that is so, for me, uncharacteristic of, Kal's personality. Because the very, very, very first thing he does is saving people and then worry about everything else. Saving people is his priority. Here, although for a microsecond, it's the other way around, which is pretty weird to me. Okay. And the writer, you know who the writer is? It's Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens has been around forever. He did a couple of Supermans from volume 2 in the 90s, a lot. He did Superman Doomsday Hunt to Prey, if I remember that correctly. Time Masters, Teen Titans, Firestorm, Green Arrow, on the top of my head, a couple of Batmans, and he also worked for Marvel, I guess, years ago. Also did Booster Gold in the 80s, by the way. But then he was the artist, not as sure if he was also the writer. He did a lot. I believe he did Spider-Man as well. But hey, never mind. I have something to say about that. Okay, let's move on. So he saves the plane, and so he talks to Lois about, that somebody figured out his identity, and he says, who could have that been? Well, someone with a grudge, so much that he wants to torture us. Someone like Lex Luthor. Yes. Lex Luthor is many things, but he is not a torturer, not in the physical sense of the word. He hates Superman with a passion. And he has his reasons for that, Superman comes in and he asks him some questions about where he was last night, etc. And he says, well, that somebody attacked the Lex Corp plane. And of course, Lex in the defensive mode says, well, you think I have anything to do with that? So he, of course, doesn't, go along with it. And then, oops, the resolution is fading here or there. And so Soups here, listens to his heartbeat, and he's actually telling the truth. And then he says, well, get out of the building. I don't want you here. And then looks his X-ray vision to his suit. And he says, the lock on it is time-stamped. And it hasn't been opened for 36 hours. And then, you don't look very well. Feeling ill, feeling dizzy, how? Okay, so Superman is going away. I must say the art looks really good, but you see here, and that's one of my bigger problems with modern comics, although not very prevalent here, digital art. I'm saying that wrong. Digital backgrounds, probably that's what I'm trying to say. So Lex Luthor is doing his own investigation, and he is looking into the missile. So he does some kind of a replay because he is somehow overall cameras. And he says, freeze at 3.8 seconds before the blast and zoom in, maximum magnification. Any signature trait on the missile laser guidance system matches that of LexCorp Engineering, sir. He says. All right. But then, okay. So we see here Lois. Lois is going into the Daily Planet. She uses the lift, and then somebody calls her on this, phone, and whoever that is talks to her, and he says, well, basically he threatens her. That's, and then he controls the elevator. Not sure how or why. Also, the elevator forces itself with a ginormous force out of the building. Not sure how that works either, but hey. And but then okay, before she's plummeting down to her doom, Lex Luthor comes in and he saves her, and he says, Lex, Superman's superior, a fitting glass side before you die. Why do you want to kill me? Your husband's weakness isn't kryptonite, it's you. So Supes comes in, and basically they are going to battle with each other. And the art, again, looks cool. So basically here, it seems that he has confiscated some kind of a Kryptonian armor from the vault of, in his ice lair in the North Pole. And he modified it to a Lex suit, if you will. So that means it's really strong, right? Lex Luthor can be formidable himself. Now that he has, this kind of suit, he should be more quote-unquote invincible. Well, he's not. But so they're having a fight here and there, and it seems that there is something in that missile, the other missile from the plane, and that makes him weaker somehow, but it's not really good explained. And the whole thing here is that Lex is talking about that he hates Superman, and that it's not fair, and he's an alien, and he accomplished way more as a human. He said, people worship you, think you are the best. I am the best. You needed the powers of a god to be Superman, while I accomplish all I did as a human being. The problem is that your accomplished are about you and no one else. And so he says about that Lex God has plenty done a lot of thing for humanity, etc. And that Superman never cared about anyone else. He said Superman said that to Lex Luthor, and he says, "Who gave you the judge?" And the dialogue is very, how do you say, childish, if you know what I mean. So he suddenly, shoots a missile to Lois, which is also a little bit uncharacteristic of Lex. But okay, let's go along with that and come back to also a little bit later. So, but then. Another Lex, also the real Lex, comes in. How does he know that Superman is here battling? I don't know. Maybe he's just... I just don't know. Anyway, so he says, idiot, can't you see I'm doing this for you? That your future will be better with Superman gone. Yeah, okay, future. So he's a future Lex Luthor. It's not hard to figure it out. And but Lex doesn't have a clue, which is weird. So at some point, Superman punches him so hard that I don't know. He just suits is breaking. Like I said, this is weird. I mean, this is supposedly the superior suit, but Superman punches him a couple of times and the suit is broken. That is that no, 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 no. So he opens it up and it's well, dun dun dun. It's future Lex Luthor, and future Lex Luthor is I don't know over 70 or 80 years old, and so what happened? He found a way. Bear with me. He found a way to break the time-space barrier, and he says, "All I wanted, what I desperately craved, was your head on the spike." So he went back in time to try to kill Super. Why? I mean, how? I mean, isn't it, shouldn't we go back to a time period when Superman, I don't know, was weaker, when he wasn't invulnerable, like his Superman Blue, electrical Superman time, or when he, I don't know, lost his powers, or maybe when he came back after Doomsday killed him, There's plenty of instances in the 90s or maybe mid-2000s that Superman was pretty weak, right? You could have come back and killed him, but no, you killed him at, I believe, in his prime of his power. Well, not probably his prime, it's 2018. So basically he's saying that even Superman says, "You hate runs so deep that all you could think of, or given the power of time travel, was revenge." And he says, "I achieved everything in life, but your very existence and that stupid grin undermined everything. I built myself from nothing to shape the world in my name, a human image, yet you won over and over again." And then he gets an heart attack. So there's a spark then, and the whole thing explodes. Again, the art looks really, really good. I mean, pretty much. And then, so he can do nothing anymore. His body's vaporized. So Lex comes in and he wants to know who it is. And because, he uses my technology and I want to pay him for the crimes. But then Soup says, "He was a bitter and a twisted old man, Luthor, so consumed with hate that the blackness rotted whatever soul he had left. A shame you couldn't prevent the explosion," says Luthor. And he says, then Soup says, "He was dead of natural causes before the explosion even occurred. Any idea was he masquerading as me?" And then Superman says, "Tell me his name," says Luthor. "What difference does it make? The abyss consumed him long ago. As far as I'm concerned, he's been dead for years." And then we have some insignificant art and stories in the back here that doesn't do anything for me at all. And then, fuck you, Bendis. And that's it. Yeah, no, this is not good at all. Like I said, modern comics sucks. And I'm surprised that, and when modern, I mean from 2016 and after that, because from 2016-17, in my opinion, Marvel and DC, went down in quality, fighting with fans, do everything different that people actually wanted in a comic. And when people, were against that or spoke out about it, these creators are, belittling and insulting the fan base, which results in loss in sales, and so much that they are in deep trouble financially still because of all the things that they did between then and now. Again, there's some. The story it's really weak, and I'm surprised that Dan Jurgens wrote it, because Dan Jurgens did some pretty fun stuff. But maybe Dan Jurgens thought, you know what? I need some money. Let's throw out some revenge story between Luthor and Superman. I mean, it's so frustrating. Lex Luthor indeed hates Superman. He cannot stand him. But there's way more than that with Lex Luthor than only his hatred for Superman. He has many, many layers. So coming back from the future just to kill him, and just because I'm better than you, and what? Why? Why didn't you team up with old Lex or new Lex, from this time period. There's so many different ways you could have tackled that. But just a simple revenge story, and then even Superman didn't tell who he really was, which is stupid, because maybe if he is, explaining what happened, maybe Lex Luthor says, hey, maybe I shouldn't go this dark path. Maybe I should focus my energies on different things. He's probably, he never gonna not hate Superman, but, it's just weak, man. This is just a weak story. It doesn't make any sense. Superman is out of character, in my opinion. All those small, even Lex Luthor with his whole revenge stick is out of character at some point. I don't like it at all. No, this is not a recommend. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this piece of paper in front of me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.